using fasting as a biohack for longevity. So I recently listened to a podcast, one of my favorite podcasts, Professor Andrew Huberman, the professor of neurobiology and ophthalmology at Stanford School of Medicine. He's in his podcast. He was discussing with another doctor or another professor about fasting from a scientific perspective, because there's so many people using intermittent fasting, and but nice to follow the expert, the scientific viewpoint. And I want to discuss that together with my own perspective from a spirituality point of view in this video. For those of you who like the contents of my video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. This is going to greatly help my channel to be able to reach out to more people. And just one optional extra favor, if you could drop a comment and share it with just one other person or your favorite social media channel, I would very highly appreciate that. But more importantly, each and every one of you, a very big thank you for supporting my channel and spending your precious time listening to me. So coming back to this aspect of fasting, the most important part of fasting, which I heard, from this podcast from these professors, and I would encourage each and every one of you, to listen to these type of podcasts, because they're going to make, important changes, or bring about important changes in your life that's going to significantly influence the quality, duration, and overall happiness in your life, right? So and coming to this fasting aspect, they're using intermittent fasting, where you can have non-nutritive liquids like tea, coffee without sugar, or drinking water. And there's of course 24-hour fast, and 48-hour fast, 72-hour fast. So they encourage, like once a month, and slowly to develop it, to have a 2 or 3 day fast. And it's going to take time before you'll be able to do that, right? But intermittently, to do a day fast, or to do the intermittent fasting, like you can do a 12-hour fast, or 16-hour fast, right? um, or even a 8-hour fast. But by default, everyone can naturally fast when you have your dinner early, right? And go to bed, and you get up in the morning, and have your breakfast normal time. So if, for example, you have your dinner at 7 p.m., which I know is a pretty early for some people, right? Then when you have your breakfast at 7 a.m., then it's like you had a 12-hour fast naturally, without you physically having to fast. This is one of the easiest ways. Or 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., right? Or 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., whatever it is. So at least 10 hours. Don't have anything nutritive throughout the night. Don't snack in between. Make You can drink water, of course. And of course, if you're thirsty, minimize the water intake when you're sleeping, because that's going to trouble you, to while sleeping and resting, and force you to go multiple times to the toilet, in the middle of the night. So be careful about hydrating too much, during the night when you're sleeping. Minimize it to just the minimal that you need, just to quench your thirst, and keep water near you all time. So, coming back to this, the most important takeaway from this podcast, they found with experiments on mice and on animals and even with dogs, right? That the ones that have fewer meals, not having, not eat, because the modern trend is not never to feel hungry, that you have to keep your insulin level on an even keel throughout, and eat every 2 to 3 hours, and this is like a common protocol with bodybuilders, fitness enthusiasts, and general health recommendations. But from scientific current 2025 scientific research results, this is not encouraged. They said it's better to cut or remove one of your meals. If you are having 3 meals, just to cut it down to 2 meals. And they said better to cut either the first meal or the last meal, so that you have a longer period at night when you're sleeping or fasting, because then you're not starving during the day. If you cut your middle meal, then you're going to feel like too hungry during the day. And typically, if people avoid bread, what normally works is people don't eat breakfast right in the morning, and this is easy. Who feels like eating in the morning, right? You're in a hurry and you're not really in the mood to eat. So you get up in the morning, and if you have your last meal at 7 p.m., then you can have your next, you can have an early lunch around 11 or 12, right, at lunchtime. It's pretty easy. You can have your coffee or tea in the morning without sugar, of course, right? And um, and importantly, what the doctor said, if you can have, will it break your fast if you have like a small snack, like a little bit of Greek yogurt or something, No, they said no, you can have a couple of spoons of yogurt or something, because you're in a rush, you're on the go. It's not, to work according to, don't be very strict with yourself. Allow yourself to adapt, right? So that is the recommendation, that if you work that way, cut it down to 2 meals. The statistic shows, especially with dogs and mice, that their longevity is increased by between 30 and 35%. I mean, the normal lifespan, the average lifespan now of the human is around 80 years, right? 30% of 80 years is 24 years, right? 30 to 35 means around 25 years, almost a quarter of a century more. And not only that, the quality of your life and the quality of your health is greatly enhanced and improved. you know this is like really mind blowing, because I always read about fasting and I heard from fasting, that it's good, the intermittent fasting and so forth, but I didn't know how major an impact scientifically is going to be on you. Not that everyone going to now suddenly become centenarian, because if the average age is 80 and you got 24 years more, means you're going to live till 104. No, but maybe you were supposed to die at 50, and 30% is 15 years more. You'll die at 65. Or if you were supposed to die at 60, then you'll die at 78. you know 30% more. That's a significant amount, between 15 and 25 years extra, that you're getting, from a simple act of fasting. I didn't know that, and it was so amazing. So from a spirituality perspective, fasting is very greatly encouraged. So in most religions, especially in the Hindu religions and the Muslim religions and the Christian religion, there is the discipline of fasting, and they have different types of fasting, that maybe they will abstain from certain things, during, or maybe abstain from salt or sugar, or maybe you get the Seventh-day Adventists that were for dry fast, from sunrise to sunset, on a Saturday. There's so many kinds, but whatever kind of fasting you do, as long as you getting into some type of fasting is going to help. Something is better than nothing. But important to understand that being hungry is very important. It activates your longevity hormone, and if you restrict yourself not only from glucose but also from protein, this has an amazing effect, a dual, like a double barrel effect, in giving you the maximum possible interaction of the epigenetics, in creating the maximum possible internal healing effect, because you get this autophagy, where it's eating all the dead cells and removing the illnesses from your body during the fasting process. So this is an important consideration to consider from a Muslim perspective, me being a Muslim. So it is standard and recommended. Not everyone, all the Muslims are just compelled to fast during the month of Ramadan, the 30 days, right? Or 28 days. It depends how long the lunar month is during that month. And from sunrise to sunset. So they have a meal before sunrise, and they eat again after sunset, right? So the whole day, not even drinking water or something. and for multiple days in a row. And then after Ramadan, it's recommended, so that's a 30-day stretch, right? So if you're doing some type of consistent fasting for a minimum of 3 days, your autophagy starts to automatically kick in. So to do it for like a period of 30 days is guaranteeing your autophagy is kicking in. So it normally, takes some time of practice, like 2, 3 months or so before the autophagy can kick in. But when you're doing 30 days in a row, it's going to kick in. So, you can join the Muslims and fast or as well, and of course you can drink your water, your coffee and sing because you're not restricted from that from the health perspective. You can stick to the health perspective and try that, during that period. And also it is recommended in the Muslim traditions that every Mondays, Thursdays, that you should fast. So throughout the year, every Monday, every Thursday, right? And also the 3 days, the 13th, 14th, and the 15th of the lunar cycle. So it ends up a minimum of 11 days every month that a Muslim is recommended to fast. And this greatly improves the immune system, the health, the longevity, and you're making it part, you're giving your body a rest. And I mean, there's now, I think, 1.7 billion Muslims, right? And a very large proportion of them in the past used to follow this principle. In the modern day now, in 2025, not that many, but still a reasonable percentage, of them are doing it, and they're doing this now for 1400 years, and there hasn't been any adverse results, noted in them, and they only found positive effects. So it is like, I mean, if you want to know the way up the mountain, ask him who goes back and forth on it, right? So follow a proven formula. It's something simple. You just know, like instead of trying to make the decision on your own, or create your own discipline that maybe every Tuesday and every Sunday, or every Friday, Tuesday and Friday, or whatever it is you're going to fast. You can create your own protocol like that, and create a rigid, like a set schedule. I mean, maybe certain occasions as a party or a Christmas party, and you're invited to lunch and so forth. Of course, when you're invited for a meal, even in the Islamic, the thing they said, if you're invited for a meal and these are voluntary fasts, you must break your fast and accept the invitation, right? So try to be balanced in that as well. So that's from the spirituality perspective. But going more deeper into, like, people who's not following any religion or religious perspective, from a scientific perspective, this is very healthy as well, right? And what I found from an energy healing perspective, right? So let me give you the energy healing. When I eat food immediately after a meal and I have to do energy healing, the energy becomes greatly dampened to up to 50% less effective. And when I'm like hungry, oh, the energy is super powerful, right? It's super powerful. I prefer to do a energy healing, especially someone with critical care recovery or terminal illnesses, before I can have any meal, like very early hours of the morning, 4, 5 a.m. or even 6 a.m. It's better for me to do it then, even 7 a.m. I won't eat till I've done it, especially someone is very ill, because it's giving them 2 to 3 times more power, normally, than if I do it after I eat, right? And this also, I feel, because I feel the subtle energies, I feel it's stronger, when my stomach is not too full. I feel more energized, you know. And my 11-year-old daughter, she's not too much into the Ramadan fasting, because she's still young, but she does it like for half a day, and there are some days she tries for the full day, and until 4 or 5 p.m., not until sunset. And she says she feels energized. As young as 11 years old, right? When she's fasting, she don't feel weak. And I said, don't you feel weak or something? She said, no, no, I feel good energy, you know. And once you get used to it, of course, medically, first 2 or 3 days you're going to struggle. Then after that, you'll get used to it, and then it'll become easy, you know. And me, I'm one person that very difficult for me to stay without food, right? But when I'm fasting, it's like automatically my subconscious mind knows I'm fasting, and I will never even touch anything. I don't even starve. So the body like automatically gets in a very calm and easy state. And so even when we practicing hatha yoga, I always recommend to not do it on a full stomach. Of course, you need at least 1.5 hours after a meal, right? So, but I normally wait like 5, 6 hours, after a meal before I could practice it. And it's so much easier when you're practicing it, on an empty stomach, and you feel more amazing. And also when you're doing your meditation, early morning, and the breath work is amazing, on an empty stomach, to perform all these spiritual tools or the spiritual practices, on an empty stomach is more beneficial than, on a full stomach as well. So hope that information helps you, and take care of yourself always.